So obviously you're a swing at the moment in Choir
Uh,
of Man. You've been associated with the show for how long? Quite a few years now.
the first time I did the show, I started in 2019.
Oh
It
wow.
was on a cruise ship, and it was a little bit of a false start. I did the show for the first time on the cruise ship, and then we got sent home because of the pandemic. But since then, it's been about 5.5 years. Yeah,
Wow. That's crazy. What does it mean to you then? It must mean quite a lot.
yeah. Well, it's very safe. Like in the show, we talk a lot about home, and
Mhm.
it's got a way. Plenty of people who've been involved for a long time kind of tend to go and come back, and it does feel like it's got a very warm, safe, homely feel, especially in an industry where you can't always feel like that.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm not saying you get cast out or anything, but it's good to have a place to come back to and the quote unquote family.
yeah. So you've done both swing and rolls.
Yeah,
Because I saw it in 2023. I reviewed it, and I think you were the beast at the time.
yeah.
So what's like the major differences between having that set role and then covering everything?
Well, I now cover, so I did play Beast, and now I cover Beast, Boar, and the Poet.
Sure.
It's nice having variety. I remember when I first started covering in 2022, but I was just doing Beast and Boar. It's so strange how quickly you get a different perspective on the show just through like you interact with a few different characters,
Yeah.
how you present as your character, because obviously in the show we're kind of just playing extended versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
So every single character, every single swing, every single main cast member has a certain spin on it. So it's a completely different show that you experience yourself as well as what you give out to the audience. I
Yeah.
think that's what I like about being a swing. Like
Yeah.
there's so many different sort of versions of the show that you can have depending on what other swings are on. The atmosphere in the building, the weather outside, whatever. It's a finely tuned machine.
Yeah. So were you a swing when you did the cruise? Because you did the UK tour as well, did you?
Yeah, yeah,
Were
yeah.
you
I was
swing
the
on
swing
top?
on the UK tour,
Sure.
um, where we did Coventry and then Edinburgh.
Yeah. What's
Um,
like the main difference between how the show kind of works in London and then on a cruise ship or on tour? Is there many differences?
well, we obviously have the 90-minute version of the show in the West End.
Yeah.
On the cruise ship and usually in other kind of fringe venues and smaller productions of the show, it's only a 60-minute show.
Oh, really?
So the middle section of the show with Home Speeches, Jungle Stomp, and Bring Tomorrow on
Hmm.
isn't in the fringe version of the show.
Oh, okay.
And that's usually what they do kind of on tour if and those parts of the show kind of require the live band as well.
Yeah.
So if there's not kind of the room for the musicians to be there, they'll usually do the 60-minute show. And often there's issues, especially on the US tours,
Mhm.
like song, because obviously we have so many songs in the show that are, well-known, popular songs. And there's an issue with rights sometimes, so we have to kind of flip the order of the show around and change what songs we sing.
Oh, okay. Because the
Um,
soundtrack is so good. Like, there's so many good songs in it. Do you have like a
yeah.
personal favorite?
My favorite one to do in the show is Parting Glass, and I think a lot of the guys feel the same.
Yeah.
The a cappella ones are so kind of vulnerable, and it's a chance to really show off what's just us.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's great to play the instruments and have the band and support each other in other ways. But when it's just nine guys singing on stage and making the best sound you can,
Mm.
that's really really super special. And to cap the show with Parting Glass, I've always really really loved.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Because the show relies quite a lot on sort of audience interaction. I didn't realize that until I went and saw it, and I was
Yeah.
luckily sat like one seat away from where people get sick.
Yeah.
What's been like one of the best? Because the Beast, obviously, you as you sing, is it Teenage Dream?
Yeah, it's Teenage Dream to
Um,
someone comes up.
what's been like? Have you got any audience interactions that really stick in your mind?
Usually they're really good. It's important to because being on stage, not everyone really wants to do it. Some people are absolutely buzzing and they sit in those seats that you're talking about, and they want to come up and they'll come up and talk to you in pre-show.
Yeah.
being like, I've heard you do this, I'd love to do this, you know, it's this person's birthday, they want to come up. But it just depends on who's kind of right for it. And
Yeah.
it's important, if you find someone that you think is really right for it, they might not necessarily want to come up on stage at all.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, enforced. We don't make anyone come up. Sometimes I've been on as bore, and the bore has to get you know, an older fella to come up and sing Impossible Dream with.
Mm.
And they're a bit harder to convince sometimes.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're well into the next speech or the next number, and I'm still running up and down the side of the aisle, begging people to come up on stage. But particular ones that stick in my mind, some people do get excited, especially on the cruise ship, because you know we do 2 shows a night. We're in the middle of the week. Everyone's had a drink. Everyone's lively, and we get people up on stage and get them a pint in the jungle as well. And there have been a couple who have been like very excited to be there. Let's say, especially in Teenage Dream.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everyone's kind of a little bit deer in the headlights, and
Yeah.
it's good because with Teenage Dream, it does rely on there's a little bit of a give and take to it. Like if you get someone who's totally uninterested, it's really hard to sing them a love song, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Sure.
But at the same time, if you get someone who is really like too into it, you
Yeah.
have to find a way of like negotiating
Sure.
something that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I do. When Beyond the Curtain asked me to sort of interview someone, I thought, oh gosh, I must try and interview Tom because my mum did it with you once.
Really?
Um, I went and did the review, the press night, and I kind of scanned out who like gets picked on because it's often the people that are near the stairs when you come down.
Yeah.
And so after I did the press night, I said to my mum and my stepdad, I said, "Oh, we've got to go. You'd love it." And deliberately sat her there because I thought, oh, she's so funny. She just plays up to everything.
Yeah.
And she got pulled on stage. It was hilarious, and she tells everybody that she's like had her West End debut and everything.
Yes.
But I just love it, and obviously at the beginning as well, where you can literally have a beer on the stage, and that's so abnormal, but it makes you feel like such a community. Like it must be quite a nice thing to do before you start.
Yeah, it's another great part of the show. It feels, especially if people who, you know, because we get a lot of people who don't necessarily come to the theatre a lot, and they see the description of our show, they think it's something they like, and they come. And it's a way to make everyone comfortable and happy, like in the jungle, like because it's not necessarily your, you know, traditional theatre space.
Sure.
But it's a good way to get everyone settled into it, get them a bit loose, give them a pint, have a chat to them, get to know them, and it's also from a cast perspective, it's really useful to chat to some people to see if they want to come up on stage, you know. And some people are too excited. And you're like, okay, if you get on stage, you're going to try and like crowd surf or something. We can't get you up. But
it kind of like settles you all, like because I guess
yeah,
you don't really feel like you're starting a show where you don't have sort of the waiting in the wings or anything like that.
no, yeah, no peeping round from behind the curtain. You straight out there. It's great.
Oh, that's nice. Do you guys have any? Obviously, you come on the stage. Do you have any sort of pre-show rituals that you all do?
We when I was on the ship, it was more of a thing when I was kind of new to the show. I think now we're a bit more old and haggard. We kind of just we settle into kind of exhaling, slapping our knees, getting up and going downstairs.
Right.
But you know, we used to have a little huddle, and something we used to do that was really nice, actually, going back to Parting Glass, we did also have a chat before the show saying we're going to dedicate, we're not going to say it to the audience or anything, but just for us, we're going to dedicate Parting Glass to one person in particular. And it might have been,
nice.
You know, if one of the cast members was going through something, if they're having a bit of family trouble, often because of the nature of the song, it's about, you know, remembering and saying goodbye. It's a farewell song. So if someone had lost someone or you know, something of that nature, we'd say this one's for you or your family, and we'd always try and dedicate it to someone, even if they weren't there. We wouldn't even tell them that we'd done it. It's just something for us to think about and give the song a bit more meaning.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. I really wanted to ask you: have you done West End Live with Choir of Men?
Yeah, I've done West End Live.
Yeah. What was your experience like with that?
It's nuts.
Is it?
because there's so many more people than I've ever done the show to.
Yeah.
And obviously, our show is, especially the West End live set that we did. Well, the year that I did it, we sung Hello as well, so it was a bit different. Usually we do Save Tonight, Pina Colada, and then some nights, but we swapped out Pina Colada for Hello.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Wow.
and but I mean, the reaction was still the same for Save Tonight and some nights, like, because it's so high energy. Usually we only do it to 300 people,
Mm.
but when it's to like I don't even know how many people are there,
Oh
and
gosh, yeah,
it's
so many.
thousands. It's thousands. It's like a music festival, but then you also have to turn your dial up,
Mm.
because if you're given as much energy as you give in the arts theatre to 300 people who
Yeah,
are a few meters away from you, that's great. But then
yeah.
if it's thousands of people who are 500 feet away from you, and
Mm.
they can just see you start clapping like that, you need you need to give more. So what it was entirely knackering. Like, it's a massive stage. We also did it with, I was a swing at the time in the second cast, and we did it with all 13 of us.
Oh,
So we kind of had to do a little reblock of the show to incorporate
yeah,
everyone in. But I mean, more bodies on stage was great because it was just space to fill, because we were just massively outnumbered. But
yeah,
it's a really, really special time, and the weather's always brilliant. It's like a little
yeah,
festival of theatre right in the middle of London.
yeah. Especially,
It's
you're kind of lucky
fantastic.
as well because even if people haven't seen the show, they probably know the songs, so they
Oh
can
yeah, yeah, yeah.
clap along, and you don't have to worry about everybody sort of staring. God, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah. I've got mates in other shows as well who are, because it's nice because we all got to do it. That was
Yeah.
what's great about having the swings in. And I've got friends like Wicked and my
Mm.
partners in Phantom, and they only ever send like the two
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
leads or whatever, and they just sing one of the duets or something, so they can just go bang done.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, but it was great with all of us getting to go and do it.
Oh, nice. And then just to sort of touch on more of the show, obviously it's so upbeat, it's so fun, but there is sort of that discussion of like vulnerabilities and like normalizing talking about feelings and things like that. So what do you sort of think the impact of it can be on men's mental health and talking about how you feel and stuff?
Yeah, I hope that we practice what we preach. We're all, like I say, with dedicating songs or being there for each other. It's really important that we open up, and we work closely with Calm, that we mentioned at the end of the show. And it's just a precedent that we've set since I've been a part of the show, that it's all about this safe place that you have, which is the pub. And like in the show, we say it can be viewed as this kind of laddie place, or just some ways to get away from the world. But what it really is somewhere you should bring your world to share with other people there. And
Yeah.
if that's taken away from you, it's hard to come back from, and sometimes perilously so. So we say it's important to have these spaces where you can share how you're feeling, how, take an interest in how other people are feeling. And it's just fine to ask, are you okay? How are you? And a pint is more than a pint. A pint is an opportunity for you to get your heads together and get anything out that you need to, rather than just take something else in.
Mm. It must be a lot more of a diverse audience than you'd get in, something like Six or Mean Girls or something like that. Like it's probably like, when I've been, it's definitely one of the most like male heavy audiences or like older people that go,
Yeah,
which is really nice to get those kind of people into the theatre and maybe like a gateway
yeah.
for that.
I think actually what's nice is you never really get the same audience twice. You might always get a high energy audience, but the demographic wise, it's for anyone.
Yeah.
I never really know. Like, I haven't had a week where it's just been all blokes this
Yeah.
week or something like that, and I'm sick of it. Um, the whole point of the jungle is that everyone's welcome.
Mm.
Like, anyone can come in, anyone might blow in. They expect to see anybody because of how we kind of promote the show, and the show is public facing. It's a night out for everyone, and who doesn't love a night out?
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for chatting.